Well, hello and good evening. I thought I would start off with the camera facing our cards tonight because I always get caught in the middle of some goofy expression that Facebook chooses to use for the thumbnail for my Facebook Lives. So I thought I would just start off with these lovely cards that we're going to make tonight. And I am doing this because I missed my Facebook Live earlier this week because we were out of town for some family things. And so I wanted to catch up and share some cards with you guys. So that's what we're going to do. And so these are the cards we're going to make tonight. I hope everybody is doing well. Let me know if you are watching on replay or if you're watching live. Go ahead and comment and let me know where you're watching from. I am Brandy Rude. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Strawberry Plains, Tennessee, just outside of Knoxville. So we're going to show you these cards. I've also got my paper pumpkin that I'm going to open up and check out with you guys because I haven't opened it up yet, and so I'm anxious to see that. And so I'm just grabbing some paper, getting ready. So how's everybody doing? We have got things going on right now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn this, flip this hay, just so I can see you all briefly. There we go. And I'm sure Facebook is going to pick that picture for the thumbnail, but that's okay. So things going on in Stampin' Up! World right now. Celebration is still in full swing, so don't forget about that. It's a great time to get the things that are on your wish list and then also get some free stuff. So we like free stuff. At least I like free stuff. I don't know about you guys, but I love free stuff. Probably too much I love free stuff. So don't forget about Celebration. And then we also have Chicks and Chocolate coming up this week. I have some spots open because with all the stuff going on, we had some family things going on. I did not get my email sent out about this month's Chicks and Chocolate. So if you would like to join in Chicks and Chocolate this month, please let me know. I've got spaces available. It's Thursday night from 6 to 8:30 at Woodlawn Christian Church over in South Knoxville, and I would love to have you there. So just let me know if you can make that or not. So I think that's about it. There are some product things coming out which are exciting. I think I showed this, and this is the new Waves of Inspiration. And I don't know if you can see, this is some foil paper. So this is a die cut that we have. Some foil paper. This is designer series paper. And then these are the gems that go on with it. So I'm going to kind of put that up there close for you to see that. It is so pretty. I just love this. That's coming up. If you would like to get your hands on that before everybody else, you can do that by joining Stampin' Up! Family, becoming a demonstrator. You don't have to demonstrate anything. Really, you're a happy shopper, and so you're just getting your products at a discount. So if you would like to do that, let me know. When you do that during Celebration, in addition to getting your starter kit, you get $26 worth of free stuff. In addition, so you pay $99. It's cost the value is $125. So you're getting $26 worth of stuff free, and then you're also going to get 2 extra stamp sets of your choice. In addition to that, and then you also get free shipping, which is another 10% savings. So it's a great time to join Stampin' Up. And our team is getting ready to have a spring team retreat up in Sevierville Pigeon Forge area. And so if you join the team, you can come and join us with our at our spring retreat event. We would love to have you there. We're going to have a cabin for the weekend up in Sevierville and very close to Dollywood. I think we've got the one picked out that we're going to use close to Dollywood. So we're looking forward to that. I think it's going to be exciting. So I'm going to show you the cards again. So these are the cards that we're going to make tonight. I'm not actually going to do them in different colors. But you can see how it looks like this. To me, it looks like when we used to use the bleaching technique. So I've kind of called this like the faux bleaching technique. That's just what it reminds me of. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to do it either in Highland Heather or Gorgeous Grape. And I'm going to pull out a piece. So let me grab my stamp pads. So I'm going to use Gorgeous Grape ink regardless. But we're going to see. We're just going to try it out and see which one looks best. And then we will, and they may both look good. They'll just be different. But it's a really super easy technique that you can use. And hopefully it's something that you'll want to do yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera down so you can see. I'm just kind of sitting here scoring paper and folding paper while we're chatting. So if you are on here, I see a couple people have joined in. So let me know that you're here and who you are. I'm going to try to watch the comments during the stamping, but if I miss something, I will always go back to the comments and read them if you leave questions or if you need help, just let me know in those comments and then I will get back to you on that. So let's flip you around and see, I did that so smoothly you didn't see the crazy side of my craft room. So we're going to try it on both and just see. So one thing, let's talk about this stamp set. This is called a distinctive stamp. So it has all of this shading and detail already built into the stamp so that you don't have to do a whole lot of stuff. Now these can be a little tricky to work with because they don't like a really juicy stamp or ink pad. When you're using the distinctive stamps, you want to be sure that your ink pad is not too juicy. So if you've recently inked up the pad, it might not work as well as you would like it to. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut. So I've got a half a sheet of cardstock. Now I like to do my cards this way, just because they stand up nicely, and I just like the way they look when they stand up. So I'm going to cut another piece. So this card, I liked the extra wide white because I felt it kind of just pulled out these lighter colors. And so I'm going to cut this piece, which is 3 3/4 by 5. And so I'm going to go ahead and get that cut. Let's see if I can think about what I'm doing here. I guess I should put my paper trimmer here so you can see. So we're going to go 5. And then, sorry for the bouncing. I'm not sure. I must be really vigorously cutting my paper tonight. All right. And so we need to do another one also with Highland Heather just to see how that's going to turn out. Let's see. Let's grab a piece of that. Let's see if we have a scrap. Sometimes I have scraps hanging out that are big enough, but not this time. All right, so we're going to cut 5 inches by 3 3/4. So we have our bases. So this one goes over here. And then we need our piece of Whisper White, which needs to be, now I'm going to do this one, I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece. I like to cut it in half first because I'm not using the whole thing, and so that means it's just ready to go for another project. So I'm going to cut this pretty tight. So normally we do about 1/4 of an inch border all the way around. So this time I'm going to do a 1/16 of an inch. So instead of, typically I would cut it down to 5 1/4, I'm going to bump it over 2 hash marks. And so it's going to be 5 3/8. And then, so typically we cut it down to 4 inches, but I'm going to knock it over 2 hash marks, which is going to be 4 1/8. And so that's going to give us, when we layer this on here, you see we have a really narrow border right here. And then when we place it down, we're going to see more of that white. And I just like it for this card that I'm doing. So that's just what I chose to do. So I need to do one more of those. So 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Alrighty. And so we've got all my card pieces cut. I will need a little bit of this for a scrap later on, so I'm just going to cut off a piece for scrap to cut my tags out. And now I'm done with my trimmer, so I can put that away. And let's see here. I'm just going to get out a piece of paper. I'm going to use my, I really love this. This is the paper that goes with our Stamparatus. And I really like using this because I just don't use a whole big piece. It still has measurements on here, so if I need them, but I just like it when I don't want a whole great big piece of paper. All right, so I'm going to get out the Calming Camellia, and here it is. I don't have my label on it yet, but I'm going to go ahead and do that because I showed you guys last week a new way that I've found to put labels on my stamps, and in case you didn't see that, I was going to show it again. And so, probably didn't mean to do that right there. So you just take the whole label out, and then you lay it down onto your block, okay, and then you peel off this other piece, lay your stamp over here. Now you're going to lay your block down onto your stamp, and that's going to hopefully perfectly apply. It takes a little bit of practice, but really it's easier than the other ways. And so there we go. That's a pretty perfect label application. So hopefully that is going to be something that helps you. Now I always take my embossing buddy and just dab that over one little piece. I saw somebody the other day, they put a little piece of washi tape on a little edge of their stamp just so that they have a place to pull it up. The whole point is these new labels are super sticky. And so to break that suction, if you have a little piece that's not stuck down, it's a lot easier. Sorry for all the paint on my hands. I've been working on a little craft project for my granddaughter. So I've been at my daughter's house all day painting. We're painting a little kitchen thing. Okay, so now what we're going to do, so just bring this card back in. I'm going to stamp this kind of randomly around my piece of, actually I'm going to start with Gorgeous Grape. Now, when you're doing this, sometimes you can use, so if I wanted to use Highland Heather and then stamp with Gorgeous Grape, it's going to show up really well on here. But I want to see what it's going to look like with Gorgeous Grape, on Gorgeous Grape. Now, we're going to see how Now see how this, when I'm inking this up, it's not very juicy. And you can see those details coming out on the stamp. And so I'm just going to kind of get a feel for it. We're going to, hopefully this is going to stamp well. I've got 2 of them prepared just in case it doesn't do exactly right. We'll see. So I'm going to put this here in the corner. So now remember, this is my layer. This is not my card base. This is my layer. Okay. So here is my card base. This is the whoops, wait a minute. I didn't cut this down. I guess I should cut this down to the right size. I cut down the Highland Heather piece, but I did not cut down my Gorgeous Grapes. Sorry about that. So we're going to cut this to 5 by 3 3/4. Cut over here since I stamped already. Holy moly. There we go. I thought that piece looked a little bit big. Now that looks a little bit too small. Let me see. Nope. Nope, it's right. Okay, one of those days, y'all. Let me make sure. Yeah, it's right. Okay, so I think that image came up pretty good. It's a little bit faint. I'm afraid to ink my pad up, though, because I don't want, like we said, these distinctive stamps don't like a lot of ink. So one thing you can do is just hold your ink pad, or hold your stamp onto the cardstock just a little bit longer to allow as much ink to absorb into that cardstock. Don't rock it around, just press straight down and then pull straight up. And I'm going to get just another little corner in there. Now I'm going to go ahead and stamp it on the Highland Heather. And let's see how that works. So I'm using Gorgeous Grape on Highland Heather. So that's kind of a lighter cardstock with a darker ink. I'm going to huff on it to help kind of moisten it up a little bit too. And let's see. Now this may be, now see that, oh, that looks really pretty. Look at that. So this may be the card that I'm going to go with. I may play around with the Gorgeous Grape after a while. But because of this contrast, I think this is going to be a lot better. And so, you know, you just got to play around. You never know what's gonna work best. But I love that. That's gorgeous. Okay. It's Gorgeous Grape. Right? Okay. So now the next thing that we're going to do, this is the fun part. We are using our Whisper White ink pad. Now, if you notice here, it says it's a craft pad. We used to have a whole set of craft pads in addition to our regular inks. This is a very thick, very sticky ink. And it was great for embossing, for stamping onto other items. And so, but this is the only craft pad we have left, is the white one. Now, when you buy this, it comes uninked, and it comes with the Whisper White re-inker. Let me show you what that looks like. Let's see. Here it is. So right here. So you will ink this pad yourself. And I suggest you ink it a day before you want to use it so that the ink has time to absorb. Sometimes you have to go in there a couple times and put the ink on there until it's thoroughly saturated. But you get this is how it comes, okay? Now, there's a couple different ways you can do this. I'm using a blender pen today. And this blender pen, I accidentally picked up other colors with it. Oh, no, that's from when I made those other cards. Take that back. This one is specifically for white. I use it for I have dedicated it to white so that I don't use it with my other colors. Now what I'm going to do, and you can see I've already got some ink on here, I'm just going to this is our smallest block, and I'm just going to put it in here so you can see how thick that ink is. Okay, and it stays wet for a long time. And then that way I can close this ink pad up. You could just, you could squeeze, squeeze here. You can see I just got some on my hands. And get some ink into the lid and then use this as a palette. You could also just touch your blender pen to the corner and do it that way. But I like to put it on this block, and that way I've got my pad closed up. It's not going to dry out. And now I'm going to take my blender pen and just pick up just a little bit of white, and I'm going to start coloring in the flowers only. And one thing that I want to do, now I saw this technique, it was a German demonstrator that I saw do this. Australian. She was Australian. I can't remember her name. But one thing you want to do is stay away from the lines. You don't want to cover over some of those detail lines. And they're gonna come through. But like I said, when it's dry, it's going to look a little bit different after it's been sitting for a little bit. And you just you don't have to, as she said, you don't have to be precious about it. That was great. You just kind of color. And I'm going to stay away from the centers where there's more of that detail and that shading, because I don't want to lose that shading. You can always come back once this dries. You can add some more layers. I'm going to sit down for a minute while I do this. And you're just pushing the ink around, and really that's it. I made these cards the other night, the other two cards, the other night, and it's so therapeutic for me to sit and color. I don't do this enough, and I just enjoy, even though I'm just only using white, I still enjoy the process and the feel of coloring. And so I'm going to go ahead and do all of them. And like I said, you'll see this is not, Art 101. This is just going in and putting this white color in. And like I said at the beginning, this reminds me of the bleaching technique, where instead of using white ink, I would be dipping into maybe some diluted bleach. But the thing about the bleach technique, and if you've ever done it, you know this, when you put bleach on cardstock, sometimes you don't get just a lighter color of the cardstock. Sometimes you get a funky color, and you have to kind of test it out. So this is guaranteed that you're going to get just a lighter color of the cardstock. And so this just makes these flowers stand out and gives you that 3D effect. And it's a really simple technique. You need blender pens. So the blender pens, I think they're $9.95, and they come 3 to a pack. And I always store all of my markers on their side so that the ink is not going to one end or the other. And so I store my blender pens that way. That's I've got a glycerin type fluid in them, so it's just a clear fluid. You can use blender pens with all of our water-based inks to give a watercolor look. You can also use them with our watercolor pencils, so you can color an image in with the watercolor pencils, and then you can go back with the blender pen and then go over those pencil marks, and then it starts to look like you've watercolored the image. And it's a simple way to get a watercolor effect, and you just use the blender pens. So one thing, because it does have this fluid in here, one thing you want to be careful about is not oversaturating the cardstock, because the cardstock could actually kind of start pilling up a little bit. That's just what it reminds me of, like when your sweaters kind of pill up. So you have to be careful about that. And again, I'm staying away from the edges and leaving that shading there. And if I feel like the cardstock's getting a little too saturated, I'm going to move on to something else. And then I'll let it dry. And then I can come back and add a little bit more afterwards, after it dries. And so you can kind of layer on and get it lighter. You're never going to get like a super white flower, because also this blender pen, because we stamped it with a dye-based ink, which means it's a water-based ink. And so the blender pen is also kind of pulling in some of the ink from the stamped image. And so it's never going to be really 100% white, because it's pulling in some of that ink. So in this case, it's pulling in the Highland Heather. And so, yeah, so there. And you can see it's not taking me a long time to do this. Now you can take as much time as you want when you start going back and adding, kind of going over and adding some detail if you want to. So we'll do that. We'll go back to those first flowers and add those in there. So let me know. I hope you are. I'm sitting down, so I can't see comments right now. I'll stand up here in a minute when I'm done coloring and check, see if I can check comments. But let me know if you like this. Hit the thumbs up, hit the hearts, do all the things like that, so we can, so I'll know that you like it. Also, I would love for you in the comments to let me know some things that you want to see demonstrated. So what are there techniques that you've seen that you want to learn how to do? So now I'm going to go back over here and because these should be dried a little bit more, and add just a little bit more to them. And you'll see how that does. So yeah, let me know what kind of techniques you would like to see. If there's specific products, it's like the watercolor pencils or the blends, or the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, the Stamparatus. There's so much. I think whenever I'm trying to figure out what to do, there's so many choices. It's hard to make a decision sometimes on what I'm going to show. But I was just, when I saw one of our demonstrators from Australia post her picture of these cards, I was like, oh, those are gorgeous. And it's simple because you just need cardstock, ink, and then the white ink and a blender pen. So you don't need a ton of supplies to do this. So I think you can see that added a little bit more lightness. And sometimes I just would kind of, so just come in straight and just do some just some little flicks here with it, just to try to give a little extra texture, and not go back over it because I don't want to lose that. There's a really nice, pretty firm, fine point on the blender pens, so you can get some detail that way. So it's pretty cool. And sometimes I would just kind of, when I was messing with this, I would just kind of pat the color. So right there around the edges, maybe I want it to be a little bit whiter, I would just kind of pat the color on there. So just going to kind of go in and add a little bit more. So this is one that this is not going to be a super fast card. It doesn't really take a ton of time, but depending on how much you want to go back over it will determine how fast or slow this card is. So I'm just going to put some more over here. Now I'm going to be making a tag that's might cover up some of this, so I don't need to go in too in depth too much, but I'm going to put some little streaks in over here. But I just love this technique. I just think it's beautiful. And you can just try it with whatever colors. Now another good combination would be Misty Moonlight. So stamping Night of Navy on Misty Moonlight would be really pretty. I think Flirty Flamingo maybe, and Calypso Coral. So stamping Calypso Coral onto Flirty Flamingo. I think that would be really pretty. Okay. So, I mean, I could just get, I kind of get like in a zone, and then I'm like, oh, I could just do this. It's so therapeutic. Okay. All right. So now when you're done, you can just brush your ink or your blender pen on some paper until it's clear. I am going to go ahead. So we've got the Gorgeous Grape here. So let's just kind of take a look and see what this is gonna look like on Gorgeous Grape. I think it's going to be pretty. Now I will say that after these have set just for a little bit, they're going to look a little bit different. You'll see the colors start to show up a little bit, I think, a little bit more, or the white part of it, I guess. So this one is really staying pretty dark. So this one might take a few layers to develop. Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of get a quick little look and see what this was going to look like on the Gorgeous Grape. It's just a little bit too dark, I think, and it's going to take some time. I will work on this one later, and then I will share with you what that one looked like when I'm done. Okay, so let's finish putting this card together. So we have this layer. We have, so we're going to layer it onto here, and then we're going to put it onto our Highland Heather like that. Okay, so that's the plan. Now we need to stamp our tag, and so for that, I am going to use this one that says, "I love being your friend," and pull that out. I'm not going to put the sticker on this one. Oops, I've got some Wink of Stella on that block because I was doing another technique last night. Practicing. Alright, so I'm going to get the Gorgeous Grape again and ink this up. And I'm going to test it. Yeah, it's good. And I'm just going to kind of stamp it in the middle here. Oh, I got a halo on there. Let's try again. So I'm not going to put as much pressure down. There we go. There's just a tiny bit. Okay. I'm being a little bit perfectionist, so sorry. Okay, there we go. There's just a little bitty tiny bit of a halo, and I have the paper here to do it, so why not go ahead and get it just right, right? Okay, let's see. I'm going to kind of check the comments. Oh, good to see so many folks watching. Glad you're liking it. Okay, so I'm using the Everyday Label punch, and I'm going to turn it sideways. And I'm going to, because I'm going to put a bow down here. I'm also going to put some rhinestones across the top, but I do want to make sure I have enough space at the bottom for the bow. And so I'm going to try to get this straight. We'll see how well I do. It looks pretty good. Okay. So punch that out. And then, now if you notice on these cards, so this is Pale Papaya. And I use the champagne rhinestones, and the champagne rhinestones look so good with the Pale Papaya. It's almost like they are Pale Papaya. And so I love that. And I use our Pale Papaya ribbon. And then on this card, these are the rhinestones that are in the Waves of Inspiration bundle. So these are new rhinestones that will be coming out in March 1st for customers. They're available right now for demonstrators. I'm going to grab a cough drop real quick because my throat is getting dry. Still having some coughing issues. Okay, and then I use the Pool Party ribbon here with this card. So with this card, I want to show you two options. So we actually do have some Gorgeous Grape ribbon, and I like this ribbon because it's soft and it's really easy to tie a bow. And so when I tie the bows, I make my loop and do this part of the bow. And I just sit and, oops, that didn't work. Fiddle with it until it looks like I want it. So I usually pull my loops really small because this is going to be a small bow. But that way I can pull it really tight, and then I can pull it smaller again. And then I can just kind of keep wiggling and pulling on my tails until I get them where I want them to be. And so I think that looks like a good size. And so then I'm going to come in and trim my tails. Okay. And now I'm going to use a glue dot for that to hold that in place. Oh, this paint is just, it's a mess. But let me show you something else that you can do. So, we have this glitter organdy ribbon. And, let's see. Highland Heather. I can't believe we don't have Gorgeous Grape Stampin' Blends. And let me show you this little trick here. So, my upline, Sharon Wilcox, she's in Chesapeake, Virginia. She showed that the other day. She uses these little clips. Now, I get these at Walmart, office supply section. They're little teeny tiny bulldog clips. And if you put this on here, one, it's going to keep your ribbon from unrolling, which, hello, brilliant. But also, if you've got your spool on here, it's going to kind of act as a stop and keep it from rolling around. So, I love that little tip. All right, so the glitter organdy ribbon and Stampin' Blends. And now, and I'm using the dark version. Whoops, I need the brush tip. You just run your Stampin' Blends over the ribbon, and you now have any color of glittered organdy ribbon that you need, at least the colors that we have of Stampin' Blends. So you just kind of got to figure out how long your bow is going to be, how much you need. This is way more than I need. And because it's the alcohol-based ink, it dries really fast. So there we go. And you know me, so I dig sparkles. So let's make a bow with this. Now this ribbon is just a little bit stiffer, and so it is just a little bit harder to work with. So I usually start with bigger loops, and once I do that, that's enough to, I'm gonna move it down a little bit. That's enough to help me out. It's just to start off with a bigger loop than I normally do. Okay, so I got it tied. And again, I just kind of manhandle this and make it do what I want it to do. So there we go. Pull it tight. And if I don't like it, all I have to do is untie it and start over. All right. All right, and like I said, I'm just going to keep playing with it for a minute here because I want to use this one. So what do you think? Do you have any questions about any of this that we've done so far? I think it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. There we go. I will, when the Facebook Live is over, I will put the measurements for the card on the description. Cut my tails here. Okay, so there we go. So there's our little bow. And here's our tag. So I need my glue dots. And so I will just, let's see here. There is one. So I usually just touch the knot of the bow to the glue dot to pick up the glue dot. And then I'm going to put this right here. Don't want it to cover up the stamped image. Now, we don't currently have any purple rhinestones. You could totally use our basic rhinestone gems without any, you know, without coloring them. They would be very pretty that way. But since I have my blends here, I'm going to go ahead and use the bullet tip on this. And I'm going to color 2 small ones. And I typically, when I'm coloring rhinestones, I will typically use the darker of the 2 blends. And this is Highland Heather, so it's a little bit lighter, so it may take a couple times going over it. And then I'm going to do one of the medium size blend. So again, with this, you can have any color rhinestone that you want as long as we have a blend in that color. So it makes color coordination a breeze. So I'll grab my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to start with the middle-sized one, or the medium size, and I'm going to put it right in the middle. And then I'm going to take my 2 little ones and put on either side. I do this because I'm really bad about not using those middle-sized stones. I use the little ones all the time. Oops. And I need to start using these middle-sized ones because I don't want to have like a boatload of the middle-sized ones and then not have any of the others. So, trying to make sure I'm using all of my products. Now, let's bring this in. So it's had time to dry. I think that is gorgeous. And so let's start putting it together. I'm going to use my green glue. And I'm going to, I love it when I do this. Okay, I don't know if anybody else does this. I'm sure I'm not the only one. So I've laid my card out like this, right? And I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to put glue on the other side. Like it matters. There's nothing on this. And every now and then it just cracks me up when I do that because, you know, it's the same on both sides. But maybe nobody else does it. Okay. I am going to, now this one, I'm using this tighter mat. It is a little bit harder for me to line it up. So that is another reason why I really like to use the green glue, because it takes me a minute to get it lined up just the way I want it. And sometimes it still doesn't work out. That's a little bit off, but that's okay. I'm going to take it. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Green glue. And center that. So I really love how that extra white frame kind of enhances the white on the flowers. And like I said, you could always go back. Once it's dry, you can always go back and add a little bit more. It's going to brighten it up the more that you do that. But I think this one looks good. And then this is something I'm going to do. Just because we don't have enough sparkle on there, right? We need more sparkle. I'm going to take, let's see. Oh, and I saw somebody said they flipped the cardstock. Wanda, you flipped the cardstock too. Yay, I'm not the only one. Okay, so I'm going to take my Wink of Stella. And I think I've recently squeezed the Wink of Stella down to the tip of it. And so I'm just going to take it and put it in the cap and just kind of flick. Now, if your Wink of Stella is a little bit dry, this may not work as well. So what you can do is way away from your card, okay, way away from your card, give your Wink of Stella a squeeze and get you, so you got a decent amount on the brush, and then you can do a little flick, and it's going to put some little winky wink flecks on here. And I love it. So you're not even having to color anything in. You're just flicking it all over the card. And I think maybe you can see some of those things. In person, it's really pretty. It's very subtle, but it's very pretty. And then I'm going to take some, let's see here, some Stampin' Dimensionals. So I get my tag back. Now, if you wanted to, you could take a little sponge dauber and maybe add a little bit of color around this if you wanted to. But since it's going on to the Highland Heather, I really want it to stand out a little bit more. And if I put the color around it, I don't think it would stand out as much. So Stampin' Dimensionals on here. Now, if you do that, look out for that, the flip and winky technique. Flip and winky technique. I like that. And I'm just going to kind of put it over here to the side. So I want to put it in a place where I'm not covering up a lot of the flowers. So there's this kind of little spot here. And I'm just going to put it right there. All right. So there's that. Now we're not done. We're not done with this card. Don't think we're done. I'm going to move that because I just know I'm going to end up landing into that big pile of blob of Wink of Stella. That would be my luck after doing all this. So we need to get the inside of our card done, of course. And so I'm going to pull in somewhere I have. So I've got my case. This is my DVD case or stamp case where I keep my pre-cut pieces for the inside of the card so I don't have to cut these all the time. I do a bunch of these at one time. Actually, I typically I will buy an entire pack of the basic white cardstock and I will cut the entire pack to this size so that I'm done. So I think there's 40 sheets in that pack. You get 4 per sheet, so that is 160 card insides. You can also use these for layering on the card fronts too, but I just go ahead and do it. I just bite the bullet, buy the pack of cardstock, do the whole thing. Sometimes I will take it to, where do I take it? Kinko's, and I will have them cut it because basically it is, let's see, it's 4 cuts, so it's about maybe $4, $5, and they will cut it. Let me cover my green glue up. And it's worth it for me because then I have 160 of these pieces already cut, perfect size, and that is worth it to me to have them, to pay $5 for them to do it. All right, so I'm inking up, and I'm just going to stamp this flower just over here in the corner. I always like just kind of doing the bottom corner. Sometimes I'll do opposite. I just think that looks good. Look how beautiful that is. And see all the detail? And that it's showing up that well because the stamp pad, my ink pad, is not super juicy. So one thing you can do, if your ink pad is a little too juicy, you can, if you want to take a bone folder, you can take a bone folder. If you have a plastic spoon, you can do a plastic spoon. Or you can use a clear block. I'm using a clear block because it's easy to clean off. And you can just press and kind of push the ink to the sides, and it will make your ink pad a little bit drier in the middle. Just moving that ink around by pressing in. And on a lighter color ink pad, you probably would have been able to see this, but that will help quite a bit because with these distinctive stamps, you don't want a juicy ink pad. So let's put this inside our card. All right. I'm so excited because I've gotten lots of cards made here the last couple days, and I am trying to send out more cards. It's so funny. I make all these cards, and I'm terrible. Y'all, I'm terrible about sending out cards. I like to look at them. I like to hoard my cards. So, but let's stop hoarding our cards, and let's start sending cards to folks because I've had some folks send me cards recently, and I just tell you, it's so nice to get these in the mail. Okay, so that's the inside of our card. Now guess what? I'm not done. I am not done. I'm going to stamp the back of the card because I got a card the other day and the back of the card was stamped and it was beautiful. And so guess what? I'll stamp the back of that card. Let's see. And I think I'm just gonna kind of do this way. All right. There we go. And then this is an old stamp that I have that says created by, look, I got some Wink of Stella on there. There's probably Ink of Stella all over, or Wink of Stella all over my table here. So after I did the flip and winky technique. And so I'm just going to take this, well, I'm going to drop it all over the place. Here we go. All right. Ink this up, stamp this, and sign the back of my card. It was so funny. I don't always remember to sign the back of my cards. And I made a card the other day and my husband was like, you need to sign the back of your cards. Ginger signs the back of her cards. And Ginger's a girl that's on our team. And she has sent me a couple cards recently. And she always signs the back of her cards, which is great. And I lost the lid of my pen. So sign the back of your card so folks know that you made the card for them. All right, so there is our finished card. And so you can see you can do this with any color of ink, any cardstock that you have. And oh no. Look how beautiful those are. Thanks, Sharon. I'm glad you like it. Have y'all seen this technique before? I'd be really interested to know. And like I said, I'm kind of calling it the faux bleach technique, even though it's not necessarily that. But it does kind of look like we've kind of gone in here on these flowers and highlighted them with bleach. We used to do that a lot. So yeah, there's lots of tips. So we've got the coloring, our organdy ribbon technique, using the little binder clip or the bulldog clip to keep your ribbon from rolling around and unrolling. I have a cat who likes, anytime there's just a little bit of ribbon left, she will grab onto it and pull it off. We've colored our clear basic gems with our Stampin' Blends also. So, you know, those Stampin' Blends, sometimes people look at them and they're like, oh, they're so expensive, but there's so many ways that you can use them. And if you get the right shade, you can also use it to touch up your roots on your hair in between your hair color. So for me, the dark, soft suede is the perfect color for me to touch up my roots in between hair color. I shared that tip a while back. I love that tip. So let's just go. I'm just going to show you a couple more cards that I've done recently. So we've got these. Again, this is the one from the Waves of Inspiration. And I just love this card. Oh my gosh. This foil paper is so pretty, y'all. And then the designer series paper is gorgeous. So that's one. And then last week, I'm still just in love with this card. Holy cow. I love it. It's so pretty. I love all I love the gingham here. I love the blenders that are not the blenders, but our blending brushes that we used. We did some gold embossing there. It was just a fun card. And then I was playing around. I watched a card Patty Bennett did this week, and this was it. Mine didn't quite turn out as pretty as hers. But I do love, I love a white card. I love white on white. I love this this is the Pretty Flowers embossing folder. And it is just so pretty. And then this is the contours, the scallops and contours die cut. And then this is, what colors did we use? Melon Mambo and Mango Melody. Which Mango Melody is probably my all-time favorite color. I love it. And then I colored, this is the organdy ribbon, the glittered organdy ribbon that I colored with Granny Apple Green. So look how pretty that is. Just a really pretty white card. And then I stamped the little envelope here. So I haven't stamped my envelopes down. I'm going to stamp coordinating envelopes with these always. And so, yeah. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you is this month's Paper Pumpkin. I haven't opened mine yet. I don't know if you guys have gotten yours, but here it is. So there's reasons that I want to show you that because there's so many benefits of joining Paper Pumpkin right now. But let's take a look and see what we've got here. Let me get a piece of cardstock so we can... So this is the stamp set that came with it, and I am really excited about this stamp set. I love... Let me just put that down because that's what I want to do. I love the fonts in this, and you did it amazing. So you've got You Are So over here, so you can do You Are So Amazing, You Are So Fantastic, Let's Celebrate, Happy Birthday, Congratulations. So you got all the bases covered there. Cute little cupcake. Look at that. That would be cute on the back of the card too. This little thing would be cute on the back of the card as well. Cute little flower, some little speckly things. So I love this. This is a great stamp set you can use beyond Paper Pumpkin. You don't have to just use these for your Paper Pumpkin. Save these and use them for other stuff. Our Stampin' Spot this month is Rich Razzleberry. So that's a good one. And then, so if you've never gotten Paper Pumpkin, this is how it comes. It's all tucked in this beautiful tissue paper. And so let's take it out. We'll try not to mess up the tissue paper. There are lots of demonstrators who have found all kinds of purposes for the tissue paper. I wish I was that frugal, but I'm not really good about that. So here is how your Paper Pumpkin comes. So this one is the Safari Celebration Paper Pumpkin Kit. So this was last month. And I'll put that tissue paper in. Usually I mess it up a lot worse than that. So let's bust into this and see what's in here. I'm not going to make the cards, but I do just want to show you the things that you get with Paper Pumpkin. So Paper Pumpkin, starting in March, the price is going up. And so it's not much. I think it's $1.50, which in the grand scheme of things is really not much. It's the first price increase that I can remember for Paper Pumpkin ever, really. And I may be wrong, but it's the first one in a long time if it has gone up in the past. All right, here are these. These are like the little faux beach glass. It's just the one color. We have the different colors of beach glass, but that's what that looks like, is the faux beach glass embellishments. Got a whole sheet of full-size Stampin' Dimensionals. You've got your coordinating envelopes. So these are cool. I love those. A lot of demonstrators will take these envelopes apart and use these to make more cards. So I love that idea. And so we have our card bases. Now, the great thing about this is both sides of the card base are designed. So you could cut this in half and then use this to make double the amount of cards that come in your Paper Pumpkin kit. So that's a really good thing you can do. All right. You know what? This is funny. The monkey is doing... I know 3 people that I could send this hula hoop card to because they're doing hula hoop for exercise. So they may be getting that card. What is this? An antelope, I think. Now, the great thing about these two is all you have to do is just kind of just carefully pop these out. So it makes creating cards very easy. So there you go. And then you would just use your dimensionals probably to attach these to the card. So here is our second card base. And then we've got these. Now, one thing I like, when these are stacked up like this, I just go ahead and pop all of these out at one time. And usually what I do is once I pop them out, I take one envelope and I tuck all of my pieces into one envelope. But if you keep them stacked up like this, you can pop all of these out at one time and then just do that. So that's what I do when I'm doing them. I'm gonna set those aside. This is the third card base. So this looks like I would say fresh freesia, if I had to guess. And then we've got some vellum die cuts. So these are really pretty. So we got those. You could cut these in half so that you can just hold, kind of mount it like that. And so you would get double out of these. I love it. The elephants roller skating. I'm a roller skater, so this is making me happy. I love seeing the elephants roller skating. That's fantastic. And then you've got your shapes for your sentiments. You've got some banners and tags for your sentiments. And then you have these adhesive dots. Okay, these make me crazy, y'all. If you do Paper Pumpkin, get your favorite adhesive out with you. But it is nice when you're traveling to have these little adhesive dots. I have a friend who absolutely loves the adhesive dots. She uses them, and she thinks they're fantastic. And that's great. I don't like them myself, but I have learned to use them. I have learned that the Take Your Pick tool is just invaluable with them because you can pop the little backing off. So you can kind of do that. And then you can place this wherever you need to, and then once you place it and press down, the backing peels off easily. So if you do Paper Pumpkin, it's great to have a little toolkit. So some snips, Take Your Pick tool, a bigger block, some green glue is always good to have in your toolkit. So finally, with Paper Pumpkin, you always get a direction sheet. And so this picture here is going to show you all of the elements that are included in your Paper Pumpkin kit. And then it also gives you, and this kit makes 9 cards and has 9 envelopes. And it tells you the coordinating color. So it's Bumblebee, Fresh Freesia, Pear Pizzazz, Rich Razzleberry, Soft Succulent, and Soft Suede. So if you happen to have that cardstock on hand, then you can use these pieces in different ways and make more cards. Now they also give you some alternates of things you could do, some different ways you can use the materials on the card, and you can add to, this is just a different design using the same materials, but you can make tags. And then if you also go online, there's a Paper Pumpkin Fan Club Facebook group, and demonstrators, not only demonstrators, but there's all kinds of folks in there, Paper Pumpkin subscribers who post their ideas for alternates, how to use this material and make different things. So make gifts, gift bags, gift boxes, all kinds of things. Okay, so then here are your directions, and it just shows you exactly, it'll tell you where to put the dimensionals, it'll tell you where, these are actually the glue dots, I think. And it tells you where to place them. This one's showing you where to place the dimensionals. Let me kind of come up, see there. So it's showing you what to do. It's pretty clear. There's also a link. Let me find it. Here, so you can scan the QR code. And this is a video instructions on how to make the Paper Pumpkin kit each month. So that's a fantastic resource as well. So back to Paper Pumpkin and Celebration. So with Paper Pumpkin, you can buy prepaid codes. And I actually just did this because I'm a Paper Pumpkin subscriber as well. And I went ahead and I bought my 12-month subscription. So that means I'm locked in at the current Paper Pumpkin price for the next 12 months. So I've already prepaid it. Don't have to worry about it. In addition to that, when you buy a prepaid code, you can also qualify for celebration items. So depending on which code you get will depend on what celebration items or how many celebration items you can get. However, if you do the 12-month subscription, you will also earn host rewards. You'll earn $22 in host rewards. So the 12-month subscription is $220. You will get 4 celebration items for free, or you could get level 2 items. We can talk about that if you decide to do this. And you will also get $22 in host rewards. What does that mean, host rewards? Well, that is free stuff. So you get to go through the catalog and pick out $22 worth of Stampin' Supplies. So it's a great time to join Paper Pumpkin and start subscribing. The great thing also about your 12-month subscription or whatever your prepaid code is, you can pause that at any time. You don't have to take it 12 months consecutively. You can say, you know what, I'm going to be gone this summer, and so maybe I'm not going to get Paper Pumpkin during the summer. And so you can pause your subscription, and then when you're ready to start it up again, you just unpause it, and they'll start sending your Paper Pumpkins again. So it's a great time to get Paper Pumpkin. All right, so I'm trying to think of what else I need to share with you. I will share there. I also have a promotion special for Paper Pumpkin, where if you do any of the prepaid codes, I have a few little bonuses for you, and so I will share that out on my Facebook page, so you will have that to see. And you can decide if that's right for you. If you have any questions about Paper Pumpkin, just let me know, because I love it. It's been a fantastic thing. I love just being able to pick up that box and take it with me. I usually take a couple of them to the beach with me and work on them there. I don't have to take a lot. I just throw my paper snips in there. I will throw my take your pick tool and some adhesive, and I'm good to go. So hopefully that will give you some ideas. So here's just a kind of refresh of the cards. Now these are the cards we did tonight. This is the one, the purple one is the one we made. These are ones that I had ready for you. So I hope you like that. I think it turned out really very pretty, very lovely. And if you have any questions about this technique, if you need to know the supplies, I'm going to post the card measurements after this is over. So if you want to recreate it, you have those measurements. And if you have any questions about how to do this, I will be happy to answer those for you. Let me show you again. We use the Craft White Stampin' Pad. And then we also used our Everyday Label. Let's see, here it is. Everyday Label Punch. Okay. All right. So I hope you guys have a great night. I will see you again on Wednesday night for my regular Facebook Live. And I hope you guys have a great evening. Thanks for watching.